together for Carolivia, Herron!
Okay, is that going to work? Yeah, I hope. Well, hello there, everyone. This is my coming out party as a person with multiple personality disorder. So, the story I will tell you is a fictionalized version of the beginning of my understanding what I was going through. When I went to the University of Pennsylvania to get my doctorate degree in comparative literature, I had no idea that I had multiple personality disorder. And as a matter of fact, I had lived my whole life from childhood taking all the personalities that were in me and reading them into the poets and writers and artists and musicians that I love. So I used to romp and play with Phyllis Wheatley and John Milton and Herodotus and Frederick Douglass. We had conversations all over Mayfair. We had conversations at the Carnegie Library, we passed it today, and all over the city. I felt that I was in conversation with these people that I love, these writers and artists that I loved all my life, not recognizing or realizing that they were actually extensions of myself. So when I was at the University of Pennsylvania, I was, as I say, I did not understand that I had this condition, and the week in which I finished my dissertation, some things happened that made it all come out and the beginning of my understanding of what I was going through. So let me tell you about this astonishing week of my life. It was in 1985 in May, and I had been working on a novel and a dissertation based on ancient African epic and ancient Greek epic, and I had fallen in love with this character of ancient time, Asenath, the woman, the African woman, the Egyptian woman, the Jewish woman who married Joseph in the Hebrew Bible. And she became the person I wanted to be, the person I loved. I created her in my own imagination with all this wonderful nappy hair. You may know that I wrote the book Nappy Hair, and that's part of what I saw in her from the ancient time. And I was working on my dissertation. It was on a Tuesday, I remember, and I had to get the dissertation completed and handed in on a Friday by 3 o'clock. So on a Tuesday afternoon, I realized that the only way I could get the dissertation completed was to type continuously from Tuesday afternoon straight through to Friday. No sleep, no anything. Well, I have epilepsy too, and I cannot stay awake at night. But I said, I'm going to do it this one time, I'm going to do it, I'm going to stay awake the whole time, and I don't care, I'm going to find a way to stay awake and do this dissertation. I cannot sleep, I said over and over to myself. Well, that didn't work. Late on that Tuesday afternoon, I lay down on the ugliest orange, gray, brown graduate student couch in the universe. And I lay down on it and I said, just 5 minutes, just let me rest 5 minutes and I'll be okay, and I'll get up and I'll continue my work on this dissertation. And I was lying there sinking deeper and deeper and deeper into sleep. Who should appear in front of me but the British poet John Milton? John Milton was the only clear thing in the room. Everything else was faded out and weird and strange and mystical. And John Milton looked down at me on that ugly couch. Get up! What? Get up! You said that you liked my stuff, you liked poetry, you like all this stuff. Get up out of there and type this dissertation. You promised me when you were a little girl that you were going to do this, that you're going to get up and do it. Oh, I can't. I'm going back and forth crying and then whining. I was truly whining. I dragged myself over to, yes, a typewriter, not even a computer. And you know those little ugly strips of white stuff, you stuck down in it and you type on it. Some of you may be old enough to know that. And you type on it and it would take out the mistakes. And I would type, and I was typing, and I was typing, and I was typing, and I was sound asleep, as far as I could tell. I mean, had no memory. I would I would be typing. Sometimes I would see the sun, sometimes it would be dark. I would wake, if I made a mistake, I could tell, my brain could tell that I'd made a mistake in the typing, a typographical error. I would wake up, correct the mistake, put this paper back down, fall back to sleep again, and keep typing. And that's how, what happened Tuesday night, I don't know. What happened Wednesday morning, I don't know. Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon. Vague memories of poets and writers and people running around and who knows what is going on. I hold here evidence that I got through that week, by the way. Summa cum laude. Sometime on Friday afternoon, a character, the Asana, this African Jewish woman who I loved, who I wanted to be, who wanted to be a part of me, who I wanted to be unified with, came into my room. She had passed through all the times and places from ancient Egypt and walked into the 13th floor of the graduate dormitory at the University of Pennsylvania, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And she looks down on me. Who are you? Who am I? Yeah. Who are you? You was lying there on that ugly, that's the ugliest couch I've ever seen in my life. What's your name? My name is Carolivia. What's that mean? Carolivia means song of peace. We don't act like it. But what are you? What is this place? What are you doing here? I'm a graduate student. This is a university. And I'm getting a doctor of philosophy because I figured out your story and wrote it down. I'm writing it in this dissertation. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm writing a story about this woman, an ancient woman called Asana. Asana? But that's me. That's my story. Well, you can't be Asana, because Asana was an ancient time ago, and this is now. This is 1985. She was way back before everything. I'm Asana, and I'm here, and I'm right here, right now, and I want to know what you think you're doing telling my story. You ain't got no business telling my story. It's my story. What do you think you're doing? Look, this is the way it is. Things have changed from the time when you were way back then in Egypt. This is different. I am in a very highly honored position. I have a doctor of philosophy, almost, if I can get this stuff done. And I can become a doctor of philosophy as long as I can tell your story right. Well, it don't sound like to me you've been doing it right. Sound like it's my story. Sound like all you're doing is stealing my stuff. So how come you get away with stealing my stuff and sharing it with everybody and acting like it's you that did it? You ought to go off and find your own story. Let me tell my story. Why can't you go off and find your own story? Listen, you don't understand anything. I worked so hard. You don't understand. All my family's coming. Everybody's coming up from D.C. to Philadelphia for the big party. I gotta get all this stuff done. And you, I'm sorry, you just, you know what? You're a hallucination. You're not real. I am real. You're not real. How'd you get here? I came straight here, all the way from Egypt, and I came across oceans and a sea and some land and all this kind of stuff. And I'm real, and I'm standing right here, right now, and I want to know who do you think you are telling my story when it's mine? And you can't tell my story. You got to tell your own story. Well, why can't we be the same story? Why can't we be one? Why can't we come together? I can't even talk to you, though, because you're not real. I am real. You're not real. I am real. One. If we could be one, I wish we could be one. And then I woke up. It was Friday, 5 o'clock p.m. The dissertation was due 2 hours ago. I had done nothing. Oh no. I started screaming. Ah! I ordered my cap and gown already. I gotta pay for the cap and gown. I gotta do it. And I gotta tell my family they can't come. What am I gonna do? They're not gonna be able to come. My heart is broken. And then something started happening in my brain, and I started to remember. First, I remembered the face of the assistant, the office manager in the Department of Comparative Literature. And I said, oh, Joanne, what a real smile. That was not a dream smile, that's a real smile. I remember her looking at me and saying, yes, you did it, you got it in on time. And after that memory, I got the memory of sitting in the dean's office. And you know, when you write these dissertations at 500 pages, they have to turn over every single, you sit there, well, they turn over every single page one at a time. And that memory came back, that I had sat in that office and watched whoever it was turn over 500 pages of my words. Make sure, you know, number blank, that kind of thing, I don't know. And I even remember, after that, rushing out, after I had printed it all, typed it all out. You didn't print it out in those days, right? You typed it all out. And going over to the copy center, and said, please, I gotta have 3 copies now. And I had not a penny in my pocket. And I said, oh my goodness, I gotta have it today. Will you print it for me? And I'll run to the bank and get some money. And say, print it. They trusted me. I remember them printing it out, and I ran down the street and got some money out of the bank and came back and paid for the copies. And the memories started coming and coming and coming. And as I stood there at about 5:30, 6 o'clock on that Friday, I had done it. I had finished it. And this is true. I'm telling you, this is not fiction. I'm telling you right now. This is like, I don't believe this. Because I really, for about an hour and a half, I thought I hadn't done it. And I was raging around the room with so much distress. And then I actually called home and talked to my parents. And they said, oh, Joanne called us and told you had finished it. Told us you had finished it. She'd even called there, because and told me to go home and rest. And I hadn't remembered that part of it. And it was such a moment. And I felt then, and I wrote in my fiction, that all the poets, Homer, Virgil, Dante, Milton, Beethoven, Phyllis Wheatley, Paul Laurence Dunbar, Thomas Mann, all my beloved ones, had come through time and space while I lay there on the couch and wrote my dissertation for me. And then I just picked it up and had copies made and handed it in. And I felt that was my moment. And the words of, transformed words of James Joyce. Yes, I said. Yes, I did. Yes. Thank you.